Testing 1, 2, 3. Let me know when y'all ready. Ready to go? Hello, y'all. My name is Minister Dominic Alexander, President and founder of the Next Generation Action Network. The Next Generation Action Network is joined today by State Representative Carl Sherman, who has been here since the beginning to support this family. We want to thank him. We also want to thank one of our community partners who has been a part of our campaign towards addressing CPS, not only for this case, for the Jackson family that we had to fight for in 2023. I do want to acknowledge the presence and the support and the leadership of the Afia Center. Also, to my right, the mother of Josiah, Josiah Sanders, and the grandfather of Josiah, Jason Sanders. It deeply saddens me to have to come again to have Jocelyn sit through another press conference, defending her name, her family, when a system that is supposed to uphold the law, that is supposed to recognize the law, honor the law, rule by the law, has truly failed. So we come today to intensify the call to action to return baby Josiah to the custody of his mother, Jocelyn Sanders. This happened last Tuesday, where a judge blatantly ignored the law in the state of Texas. It took us a few days to really gather our thoughts, our minds, and this case has really hit really hard to my heart. I didn't say anything the next day or the day of because it was very emotional to see the miscarriage of justice and to see the actions and the words that the judge said. I want to start off by saying that every comment and words that I say is a reflection of the Next Generation Action Network and NGAN on its own. I don't want to speak for this mother, but I do want to speak for myself in this situation. This case saw three hearings that prolonged days after days. Many of you have heard that this CPS worker perjured the document that was filed in court. There are two different ways that you can take a baby under the statute that governs CPS. One of them is through a court order where a CPS worker files an affidavit of facts, and not falsehoods, but of facts, or a CPS worker investigates what is going on. And I say investigate because it's important, because if you fail to do, you cannot use this authority. They can remove the child if they investigate and they see imminent danger. Well, in this hearing, I'm going to say to you guys, the CPS worker said out of her own mouth that she did not investigate. A Corinth police officer took the stand and said that the CPS worker falsified the affidavit that was filed the day after baby Josiah was taken from the custody of his mother. It's important that you know that. Also, as they took the actual baby, state law tells them in the statute of CPS that you cannot return the baby back to the same hospital in which has made the complaint. But we know that baby Josiah was returned back to Children's Medical Hospital, where he sat in there for weeks without the love and the care of his mother and grandmother. Also, grandfather, my bad, I'm sorry, shoot me, I'm sorry, y'all. But also, when we had this hearing, the state statute says that Jocelyn should face her accuser. Out of all of the people, the fact experts, all of the medical professionals that were testified in these hearings, none of them was the doctor that saw Josiah that night and made the referral to the Reach Department inside of Dallas Children. Also, there was a doctor that testified in the hearing named Dr. Murphy. After care, testified that baby Josiah should not get a surgery that CPS has scheduled baby Josiah to actually have. He said that baby Josiah's feeding tube that is in his nose is sufficient, and they do not have any problems with it. But now, still to this day, after Dr. Murphy's testimony, a CPS worker has scheduled baby Josiah for a surgery to place a button in his stomach after the doctor told the court that he did not need it. It's important to note that every fact, everything stands in support of this mother. The attorneys that represented this mother asked for 2 directed verdicts, and this judge blatantly ignored the law. I've taken my time to be able to make sure that people explain. It's not what Jocelyn has said. It's not what state representative has said. We are just quoting state law that requires and says that the judge should have to return the baby to the mother. Before we even get into the medical minutia, because one of the things I must tell people all the time, when you get a medical degree and you get a doctorate, it's called practicing medicine. And neither of us are doctors, so we will not get into the medical situation. We will make sure that we keep it about the state law and the affidavit that was filed in the court that says that baby Josiah should be back with his mother. A judge should have thrown this case out. But before I even say, because many people will be able to say, oh, well, we want to hear about the medical. Well, I'm going to say this. There was nothing that was said in that courtroom that said any negligence was on this mother. Everything that she was accused of was shown in court that it was incorrect. CPS created this imminent danger that they could not get one professional to conclusively make an argument that baby Josiah was in any type of urgent need. However, even if he was, we are not talking about a case where a mother and a grandfather refused to take baby Josiah to the hospital. This mother and this grandfather agreed to take baby Josiah to Plano Children's, not Plano, Dallas. But CPS in this hearing failed to tell the actual reach specialist by the name of Dr. Suzanne Daigle, failed to tell her that the parents actually agreed to take baby Josiah to the hospital. This is the reason why we call for an automatic return and a dismissal of the case, and we call on our state legislatures to hold committee hearings. We need our state lawmakers to get involved in this situation right now. I cannot tell anybody. So many people have asked me in the last couple of days, man, what's going on in the case? I can just tell you that a judge literally blatantly ignored the law. I ask anybody to read the law. I ask anybody to research the facts of this case. But just the other day, I celebrated 10 years of activism in this city. And I can tell y'all, this is probably about the worst case I have had, where you are looking at a judge just basically torpedo a state law that is clear in every different angle. So what I'm gonna do is pass it over to State Representative Carl Sherman.
Thank you, Minister Dominique Alexander. I am Carl Sherman. I'm here as a member of the Texas House of Representatives. I can say that I cannot speak for the mother in this case. The reason that I'm here is because this concerns all of us when someone's parental rights are taken. This is an issue that was so important to the Texas House and the Texas Senate that in the 87th session, we passed legislation, House Bill 2536, that addresses the need and to permit the rights for a parent to get a second opinion. That shouldn't have to be codified into law, that a parent, a caring mother or father would have the right to have a second opinion. But we knew, because of incidents like this, that we needed to codify this into legislation. And yesterday I spoke with Jocelyn's senator, her state senator. He is very concerned about this issue. Though he's out of town, he has committed himself to looking into this matter as well. I know that it's been over 90 days that Jocelyn and Josiah have not been together. And this all started because a mother was concerned about medication that her child, she was concerned that her child was prescribed clindamycin, which is an antibiotic that the American Heart Association has said that they do not have faith in this medication. The Mayo Clinic has also stated their concerns about this medication. And yet, without the mother's approval, clindamycin, I understand, may have been given to Josiah. I'm here because, as a legislator, I want to stand with our parents who have a right to have concerns that they have about raising their child, whether it's medication or immunization. The parent should have a right to parent their children in the holistic way that they'd like. This is a mother who has taken her child to the doctor consistently. This is a mother who, the reason we are here was because she had taken her child to the hospital. So I'm concerned, deeply concerned, and my office, we will be having a town hall to host parents who may have had concerns with our state agency. The state government should be there to help our parents, not to rip the parent and child away when it is a situation that is not of danger. So that's the reason that we are here with the Sanders family, and we will continue to look into this matter and look forward to a better outcome for this family.
So like was said, I echo and agree wholeheartedly with everything that State Representative Carl Sherman has said. Next Tuesday, I believe that is March 26th, next Tuesday at 6:30, we will be doing a direct action, a protest outside of the Denton County Courthouse. We stress the importance of having people join us. Because the only way that we stand up against this level of injustice is that we see mothers, fathers, parents, grandparents, everybody, uncles, everybody coming together to stand up for this fundamental right. Do a parent in these America have the parental rights to educate themselves on their children's medical care? That's what this is all about. And standing up against the levels of injustice that this Texas CPS has done towards this mother. So I need everybody, y'all. I know that people from Dallas and Fort Worth and so many different people are looking at this and saying, Denton is a long way. But I say this all the time, don't let it be your child. Don't be my next case. Don't be the next family that's coming here with tears and then you want everybody else to stand with you. It's important. Don't just be on social media putting comments and hashtags. We need your bodies. We need your voices. Because if they'll come after this mother, they'll come after you. They'll put falsehoods on your name. This is not our first case. Just this morning, we just got notified this morning of a case in Fort Worth. I'm sick of these cases. I don't want these kind of cases because these really hit home. As being a father of a 9 and an 8-year-old that is at my home, this hurt my heart to even do this, to even have to pull Jocelyn in front of cameras. Today she was able to visit with Josiah, and as she visit and stay strong, she still has to fight for the return of her child. She still have to stand strong and advocate for her child, and still have to say, baby, it's gonna be all right, when she might not even know if it's gonna be all right. Just think about it, y'all. Like, I couldn't tell y'all how just like terrible this case is. Anybody who was in this courthouse would have been upset. I didn't comment on these for days because I wouldn't even be using the same tongue based on how upset I was after the hearing in the days. I had to get myself just mentally just check out how grossly a mischaracters of justice in this case, and the audacity for this judge to call this mother a liar. Those words, the Next Generation Action Network will never forget that judge said it to this mother. After the only lie that was did in this courtroom was from a CPS worker that admitted on the stand that she lied. Corinth Police Department did not have to agree with this mother. That officer, Officer Engel from Corinth Police Department, testified. The police chief was on Fox 4 testifying that his officers did not see any signs of neglect in this house, and that this CPS worker placed Josiah in a running vehicle and did not even call a paramedics for this so-called emergency that they literally created in 12 hours. And then he also testified that his sergeant asked the supervisor, did they want to put exculpatory evidence, the evidence that Jocelyn took baby Josiah to his primary care doctor, the evidence that Jocelyn had signed up and made sure that he had the nutritional care. Thirdly, that baby Josiah had got an alternative antibiotics medication. Those things were not even in the affidavit that was filed in the court in Denton County. If you are a judge looking at an affidavit that is proving a mother's neglect, that should be in it if any judge is to sign it, to show that a mother is neglectful. But this CPS, this Denton CPS officer took that out and painted a story about this mother. We are now over 85, probably 90 days without baby Josiah being in the custody of his parents. December 21, 2023 is the last day. I remember this, y'all. This is how embedded I've been in this case. Is the last day that baby Josiah has been in the custody of his mother. And this is a huge miscarriage of justice. I will pass it over to Jocelyn to say a few brief words, as much as she has, just to say. All right.
I do want to say one thing. I've been silent this whole time. I'm not a lawyer, but as Minister Alexander asked each of you to do your own research, because a reasonable, prudent person can simply look up the code in chapter 261 of the Family Code. And when you find out that this trainee graduated just the day before on December the 20th and was in our home on 12/21, she did not have the emotional intelligence to be able to make this decision. And when she heard that we had an alternate antibiotic and we were under care of a nutritional therapist, the code says she should have got a specialist. That's in chapter 261.3017. She should have sought a specialist. She didn't seek a specialist. Not only did she not seek a specialist, because in that code, it codifies the very thing that Dr. Nadeau was speaking about medical conditions that mimic maltreatment. And so we've heard from the doctors, and we see that this young lady did not follow the proper code. She did not do an investigation. And so therefore, what are we talking about? If the affidavit is perjured, she was impeached, why are we still here 90 days later? I'm having to watch my daughter suffer for my grandson not being home with each and every one of us, when that's the very first challenge. Is the affidavit legal? And if there was no emergency, because she also testified to that too, that there was no emergency. What are we talking about? Look at the law, look at the experts, and I challenge as many people to get involved, because this could be you.
Give me a second, I'm sorry. As I sit here before these cameras, I will say that my heart is hurting. It's been over 90 days I've been without my son. And it's my hope and prayer that my son is returned home to me before April 9th, given that CPS has scheduled for my son to have this invasive stomach surgery when Dr. Murphy from Children's Dallas testified in court that was not his recommendation, and that surgery is highly invasive. I'm just heartbroken that I'm still not returned with my son. And I just ask that everyone watching this just stands with us in this fight of bringing my son back home to me.
Of course, y'all not surprised by the fact that it's hard for her to say these words. It's more than 90 days. He's a 2-year-old. If anybody has followed Jocelyn, her son has been by her hip ever since his birth. And it's just one of those things that, man, it's hard to hold the tears back. But as an organizer, I'm trained to not show emotions. But boy, this one is hard. And like I said to everybody, I need this courthouse packed out. I need this courthouse packed out. I need, if you gotta go pick up your 3 o'clock, drive on that road, I need everybody out there. Because we are continuing, NGA and the Affairs Center are continuing to see this problem continue to be committed against families of color, particularly here in the state of Texas. At the end of the day, a mother has every right to educate herself. There's a thing called Google, Bing, and all those things. Internet can be good and bad. But one thing about it is that things like the FDA, the American Heart Associations, are things that even our elected officials and people who run our government look at and get their guidance on medical health. And at the end of the day, this mother has every right to educate herself. A very well-educated mother. A mother that graduated top 10 of her class. We know that to be verified because the Texas, the attorneys that are representing the state, the DA, subpoenaed the records from UNT Denton to try to see if this mother was lying, whether she graduated top 10 in her class. That's what they used their subpoenas of record on. They also used their opportunity to question this mother to ask about the sexual interactions of how she gave birth to baby Josiah. In the state of Texas, a district attorney, an attorney ad litem, an attorney that is supposed to represent the best interests of Josiah, thought it was best to ask a mother, who did she have sex with? When did she have it? Where did she have it? These are the type of questions that were asked to Jocelyn on the stand. Not about neglect, because they didn't have it. Jocelyn did not face her accuser. She faced people who had second-hand knowledge of the situation. And I'm not an attorney, but I thought that was admissible in court. But, hey, I'll just leave it to the attorneys. So, with that being said, I'll open it up for questions. Any questions?
I have one for Jocelyn.
Yes, sir.
I know you mentioned that she had a visitation. I just wanted to know how it went and how is Josiah.
How did it go?
Is that the first visitation that you had today?
Yes, sir.
Can you talk to us about it?
Yes, sir. Today I had a visitation with my son Josiah. I'm just blessed to be able to see him. I'm able to see him for 3 hours a week. I look forward to it every single week. It makes my day. It really makes my heart happy. And yeah, it just really made my week. I look forward to those days. And he was happy to see me as well. It just breaks my heart having to leave him, knowing that he's not able to come home with me on that day.
Tell me about the moment. He's happy to see you. How is he doing?
Yes, sir.
How do you see him today? He's in good spirits. How's he doing?
Oh, yes, sir. My son is doing well. He still has the feeding tube in his nose that they placed.
I have a couple more questions, but did they mandate some courses in the court? Are you able to attend those courses? Can she answer? Do you want to answer that?
No order at this time has been signed by a judge in regards to this case. And Jocelyn is consulting with her attorneys on all of her next steps.
Okay.
Any other questions? No questions? Like I said again, I ask that everybody join us next Tuesday at Denton County Courthouse. Now, don't show up at Dallas County Courthouse and start inboxing us and telling us it's Denton, Texas Courthouse. You can go on the Next Generation Action Network site on all of our social medias to be able to see the flyer at 6:30. Denton County Courthouse. It's still gonna be daylight, but we need to show a strong force of solidarity and unity as we continue our quest. Justice is not a thing that's overnight. No issue, no battle that I've ever had with levels of injustice has been given to us easily. It's people power that brings back Josiah. And we need the people to stand up. We need the people to come out and join us. Enough is enough. We need baby Josiah back home immediately, and we ask that everybody intensify our pressure. The hashtags that we have put out, we need everybody to join us as we demand baby Josiah's return. I want to say thank you to Jocelyn's attorneys and all of the incredible work that they did in those 3 hearings to articulate the law. They did everything in their power to make sure there was nothing, no lack of anything in regards to her representation. It was just an unfair judge, and that's my opinion. Thank you.